What's going on, guys? Up here at Southside Sales and Service still, and we're here to bring you the big show of the racing world, and that is the snowcross sleds. I come from a snowcross background. Bruce comes from a snowcross background. He's at a race team damn near just as long as I've been alive. So the snowcross sleds have been a huge part of his life and a huge part of my life. It's actually how we've met, if you guys didn't know that. But behind us, we have a brand new 2024 Polaris 600R race sled, and we do have a 23 next to it. But we just wanted to show you guys kind of what these things are all about and how, how different, I don't want to say how different they are from a consumer sled, but the differences between these and a consumer sled. And the man to do that is Bruce, because he knows these things damn near just about as good as the back of his hand.
Yep, definitely know these sleds, that's for sure.
He's fixed a lot of broken ones.
Fixed a lot of broken ones.
Built a lot of really fast stuff. Unfortunately, I raced against a lot of his really fast stuff, which is a downfall for me in my racing career. But we're here to just kind of show you guys what the insides of these things look like.
Yeah, so guys, the 23, 24, really there's no difference this year between these snowmobiles. So I just wanted to show you one. I just wanted to show you one that was together and one that's apart, so you kind of see how it's constructed.
Right. Yeah, so this is what they look like outside.
Right. So a 23, the only difference that has happened to the two sleds between, again, Tom, Ben, Scott, all the shout out to them. I mean, they do a heck of a job with this stuff. They do the testing, already looking into the next year, and the stuff just has been working great.
Evolving.
Evolving for sure. A few more gussets here and there, just in things that they see to do. But the biggest change is top A-arm to here to there. The top A-arm went from like 3/4 of an inch diameter to 7/8, and it went to, we use this ball joint, the same ball joint we use on a consumer sled. We use it on everything. It's like 11 millimeter, big nut underneath. This year, they went to a tapered ball joint, so that the top of the spindle actually is bored at a taper that drops in just like a car ball joint, and you lock it in, because we've had a little bit of issue, especially with the tall spindles now, where this is rocking and it's we can have a failure up here. So they put a better ball joint in, a better A-arm in, because of the leverage of this spindle. And so that's the biggest change with these units this year. This one doesn't have spindles on it right now, because my buddy down to Berkshire Custom Coating was nice enough to powder coat them for me this week, so I'm gonna be putting those on this weekend. Right. But this is the spindle that we are using, it just with a different bore on top. So as far as the snowmobile is concerned, the biggest thing has been the evolution of how everything sits up and how much track is off the ground on these sleds now.
Right.
When this sled is sitting here like this, and you look at underneath there's a lot of track not on the ground. Mm-hmm. I mean, it'll go almost back to here before it starts hitting the ground, per se. And that goes back to all the things that we talk about ski pressure and how something's going to turn. Well, with this sled, we've progressed from 121 to 136. We run an 1 3/4 lug. It wants to go straight. Yeah. There's no question. You turn it and it just wants to drive it straight. So now the idea is obviously the nose is up more for snow clearance. It also picks the track off the ground, and we don't have to pull strap anymore, because now we have so much height, and where where the angle of everything is, we have plenty of suspension here, and when you turn, it'll turn, because the rear is hitting, the two skis are hitting. So
just like we talk about with the consumer stuff.
Yeah, same thing. That's what they went after. So when you take the skin off of these, this is what it looks like. Right. Here's your intake, and the intake on this sled in the sled is sitting right here. So this is the intake that leads right down to the snorkel here. But the way this unit is made and how the A-frame comes down to where the shock towers are, very similar to a consumer sled. It's just made out of different material. Plus, we have a crossbar here that connects the two, so that these don't
push their way in.
Push their way in, because we're running, commonly the consumer sled, we're running 80 pound. We're doing a lot of changing to 100 pound or 125 pound springs in the front to keep you guys more stable in the turns and go better through the bumps. So these are 250 pound springs. So
this is a different ballpark,
yeah,
guys.
and the shocks are way stiffer than anything that I do for anybody in the trail. The cross country is that center piece there that does still go on. It can go in the trail and is rigid, but this is just super rigid, and it needs to be in the soft snow and the big holes for sure. So the way this is set up here is, they still use a similar brakes that we use on a consumer sled, just a different material. The design of it is very similar. It's just it's bolted in the back on a consumer sled. We use a little different material rotor so that we don't weld to the brakes because they get so hot. And then on the side panel, there's a duct that comes down, just similar to an XCR and that, where they come down and blow the air right on there. And it does make a difference. I mean, that's why they do it. It takes the heat out of the brakes.
And as you can obviously see, we're running coolant through the brake.
Yes, we are.
Trying to keep them cool.
Yep. And with the materials that they use now to help keep the brake temperatures down is important, because in years past we had these things so hot that we would actually raise the temperature of the engine because the brakes were so hot. So that wasn't a good thing.
Yeah.
So now things are much better. Obviously we're fuel injected now. We have been for the past 3 years.
Yeah, and these are 600 cc engines, guys.
Yeah,
they're not 800s, 850s, thousands. They're 600s. That's ISR rule book.
Yep.
I don't see it changing anytime soon either.
No, this engine is purpose built for just snowcross. That's it. Fuel injected with big crankshaft, small bore, long stroke. And today's one is like a mod sled we built 4, 5, 6 years ago. This is so responsive. The motor is so quick. It is a handful to ride.
Yeah, they're spunky.
Yeah.
Very, very spunky.
Yep. So, we run like about a 3-gallon tank in this. Obviously fuel injected. It has the fuel pump mounted that's hidden underneath the cover here. A chain case that we used back in the Pro X days. It's the same.
Wow, that hasn't changed since then?
It's the same part number, cover, and case from a Pro X. Now they have put more gussets inside of it, but if somebody came in with an 04 Pro X with a chain case blown out, I could throw that right on. It would fit right on there. It's talk about a proven chain case.
I was going to say, I guess if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Yeah. So that's worked well. Plus we have a drive axle that has a huge clutch in the center of it. So that's to keep from blowing chains, because these guys are landing on the throttle all the time. So there is the driver is.
It's got to go somewhere. All that energy's got to go somewhere.
Yeah, and this is internally and externally driven, so it drives right through the track, so there's no skipping. And when you hit the brakes and you hit the gas, that chain is
taking a beat.
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, we would blow these things right out of there when they first started realizing that. And then we had little clutched gears, and we changed that, and then we went to clutches now on the drive axle, and now it makes everything live. But yeah, works really well. So yeah, rear suspension on this, very similar design to what we use on a consumer sled, with torsion springs and transfer blocks. The coupling bar in the front, except we have adjustment for that coupling bar. This has long springs on it, like we talk about now on the cross country, and what we're going to do on the XC9R.
And this is kind of where that started, no?
Yep. Again, a lot of these things, I mean, the geometry of this front end is the same geometry that we use on every one of our flatland sleds. On a RMK, it's a little different. We use cast arms, it's narrower, this and that, but still similar geometry. But as far as consumer stuff, it was 3 years ago we were using still the same spindle that we used on a consumer sled. Now we've escalated to this. Now this is what we have done, and all of that is below the ball joint. So that height differential is what's picking the nose up, picking track off the ground, and getting you snow clearance. So it wants to turn and go through the snow better. And then this one happens to be a cross country. I just wondered.
Yeah, it's just
So
a
here
little bit taller.
we're just talking that 3/4 of an inch or so.
I mean, going back to the tunnel here, you have all the
Yeah, you have coolers that go full length of this tunnel, crosses over, goes back down again, and then these are just kind of venting just to help. This acts as a fin, just like on a radiator, to help take the heat off the tunnel.
Yeah, and a lot of times you'll see the, if you're watching the starting line of a pro race or something, they're packing snow in here, trying to get the coolant temperature down in the motor and hot pipe, right?
Yeah.
That's the name of the game.
Yeah, they run them on a stand. They clean the motor out, which now isn't as big of a deal. In carbureted time, it was a big deal. Now these things are just so you can let them idle half the day, grab the throttle, and it'll just rip it out of your hands. It's amazing how it runs. But the we have the dragon button, which we have used now since.
That's a horn.
Yeah, it's a horn. It is a horn button. But we've used it since 2004. This same button, by the way. And hold the button, same button, same part number. Hold the button, hold it wide open, and it'll sit there before engagement and heat that pipe, just like a drag bike or drag sled.
Yeah, it's like a two-step.
Yeah.
If you guys are car guys or anything,
so
two-step where
it'll just
beating and popping and banging on the
cook
line.
that pipe. I mean, cook it, and without spinning the track. So they do that, and then you'll see the guys nodding their heads as the flagger's pointing. They, at that point, they let go of the button, they sit in engagement, and they leave hard. But with that being said, yes, when they're running on pre-stage and they're running them, they'll throw snow up here to help just cool that area to pull that into the motor. Cool motor, hot pipe, like you said.
That's the name of the game for power in these things. Cool motor, hot pipe.
Yep.
But they have, each and every single year, there's just fine-tuned improvements, just kind of like we talk about with the cross-country sled.
Yeah.
It's not major changes right now. It's just little stuff. They work really, really well. Back from when I raced, they're definitely much different nowadays. But in the last 3, 4, 5 years, there's not been a ton of changes. Yeah. Again, they work really well. They do. And
well, this year here, maybe you'll get on one if we do that deal up at Saddleback.
Yes, yeah. So we will be up there. We might be there with one of these. We might be there with that. But we plan on being there. So should be cool. I'm very excited, and it's just cool. Again, we talk about all the time, the racing side of these companies is kind of the forefront of what leads to our consumer sleds.
Yeah.
Obviously not everything. No, we're not going to put 250-pound front springs on our consumer sled.
No. But
it's just the thought process behind a lot of the things. The innovation in the racing world leads to our consumer sled. So, and they're cool to watch. Snowcross is one of the coolest things, not just because I did it and because we're talking about it, but it is one of the coolest things to watch. So if you have never seen it, which I'm sure if you're a snowmobile person, you've seen it somewhere along the lines, but every single race in the Nationals, the ISOC series, is live streamed for free, I believe. Or no, it's on Flow now. I'm sorry. It is on Flow. So if you go on Flow, you can watch every single one of them. And there's 9 weekends this year? I think so 9 races. And they race 2 days. So really it's 18. So it's very cool to see. Awesome. The athletes that are racing right now are just, unbelievable. Fitness. It's crazy where the level that they're at these days. But nonetheless, that is the 2024 Polaris 600R. They're cool. They're fun. But thank you to Bruce here at Southside Sales and Service for giving us a little walk around of them. But that's going to do it, guys. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.